Hello to
I
everybody.
am.
Welcome to the show. Ashanti, she's my co-host. She's my cousin from my patrilineal side, from my father's side. Her grandfather and my grandfather are both brothers, so that's how she's related to me. And today we will be covering the Cherokee Nation reaches settlement with Oklahoma State. With no further ado, let's jump in our trending topic. Three major tribes come to agreement with Oklahoma about tribal card tags. The Cherokee Nation approved a 10-year extension to its card tag compact with Oklahoma, updating registration rules for citizens living outside the reservation. Saturday, December 14th, 2024, 9:26 p.m. What does the Cherokee Nation Compact look like? The Cherokee Nation approved a card compact with the state of Oklahoma on Friday, December 6, 2024. The agreement extends the existing compact by 18 years and revises vehicle registration rules for Cherokee citizens living in Oklahoma but outside the Cherokee Reservation. Under the compact, the Cherokee Nation citizens can still purchase tags on the reservation and now have an option to buy them at any Oklahoma tag agency. Funds purchased on the reservation will remain in the reservation, supporting education, law enforcement, roads, and bridges. Any funds that's made outside of the Cherokee Res will go to the state of Oklahoma. When I did my research on this, I found out that there was a battle in between the Cherokee Nation basically going back and forth with the governor of Oklahoma. Basically, he wanted to say the Cherokee Nation owed in between $8,000, or no, it was $800 million because it's a 249 billion industry, basically. And with that being said, it's just a money thing. When it all boils down to, it's like the governor wants to take all of the money and not share it. And this is affecting Cherokee citizens because this is a way that the same as BMV, Bureau of Motor Vehicles here in Indiana, would be. They have their own. The Cherokee Nation has been triumphant in being self-sufficient, and I think the current governor wants them to go back to old ways, where the Cherokee Nation was very dependent on it, was very needed everything, but the Cherokee Nation has used its gaming thing to become a leader, a business leader, which I think a lot of Native nations need to take a step and look into this nation. Okay, they using gambling, but they also from their gambling they do this. Also from again they doing that, so diversify. And some Native nations are against it, but you need to think of more than one way to skin a buffalo or skin a bear or a moose or an elk. Because in industries nowadays it's very hard, and to be a sovereign domestic nation, they're not independent, but they're dependent on the United States government. They're doing pretty well for themselves. So, cousin, what do you think about the situation in Oklahoma?
Well, I just found out about it, so I really don't have like an educated input right now. But why not? Why not go after what is due them? You know what I mean?
Yes, I
Now,
do
I
know.
mean,
Yeah, I know that a lot of times, a lot of people, no matter what, it seems like the government, both state and federal, always try to knock down minority groups who are doing well for themselves. It's almost like they don't really want you to exist at all, but they have to sit up there and tolerate. So they sit around and they think of ways to rule. Take every time you seem like you're getting 2 inches, they keep pulling something under your feet. You
oh,
know, either
all of it. Yeah. Always. They're always going to try to block out, but I still feel like, it's worth it to fight and go after. That's why we vote. That's why we, have people sign petitions and things like that. And so if people know what's going on and they know what the government's doing, then more people can be proactive at trying to combat the ways that they're trying to like stamp out or stomp out a lot of the good things that are going on. So it's all about just having the knowledge and then fighting, because like I said, why not go after what's due you? You know what I mean?
Right. I agree with
To
you.
me, the indigenous people are owed more than what they've been given by the government. The government's only going to give the bare minimum and do the bare minimum. I mean, if we think about it, like at least they give a little to the indigenous. I mean, because so many groups have not gotten their just due, and that because African descendants of Africans have not gotten their reparations. And so far, we only know one state that has passed the law for that, and that's California. So the government, as you said, they're always going to do the bare minimum. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
I've
always try to
talked.
block ways.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
Oh,
My
go
bad. I'm so sorry.
ahead.
Well, I'm going to use the Cherokee word unega askeya or geya.
No, I was just saying the
Yeah,
government's always going to try to block ways that we can
right.
get more and do more.
Well, I know there was this one unega man who was telling me, a white man, that I feel like our people currently do not benefit off of slaves and slavery. He said everything currently has to do with what currently happened. So I brought him back to. I was like, well, when I was a kid in Indiana, my father had to ask a group of people in Greenwood, was it okay to move in that area? That's called redlining. That my great grandfather after slavery was a sharecropper. So I could give you time and time again about situations where slavery has continued on. And if we talk about slavery, they made it where if you didn't have a job, then you went back into slavery, because slavery, the only way that you could be indentured servitude or be a slave to the state was if you committed a crime. So that's why the criminal justice system is so big and complex, is because now that makes it hard for you to run businesses without being taxation. Make it hard for you so you could end up doing illegal fast ways in order to gain wealth, but don't have the knowledge of how do I do it legitly quickly. But a lot of people can't wait if you get into real estate 30 days. Now, to bring it full circle back to the indigenous people, I've asked different indigenous nation people, how come you guys don't do land back on your own land? And I now understand after watching a video that was done by a good friend of mine who's from the Lenape Nation, one of them in Oklahoma. I think of what it's Anarco or something. He made it one about going back. It's so much controlled by the white man, by the government, that they literally have to get it okay now for you to do anything. And maybe what it is that when you move back into the territory of your ancestors, it's no longer the territory of your ancestor. Now it's up under the government. It's up under certain people who do not physically want you there, but they will come up with rules. So it's not racism, it's classism, but still it's undertone racism. So they will control you. Oh, you're doing this, you're zoning permits, but it's on your own land. So they come up with all kind of different ways, and they're paying attention to what you're doing on your land. And so now I understand why a lot of Native people won't come back to the Southeast, or even Black folks won't go back down to Mississippi, Alabama. It's not that we don't want to go back the old way. We just don't want to pull up with the political arena of it, because we have the might, but the political arena is where they win every time. So it's like you have to deal within that realm of the politics. And I think a lot of Native people are good on reservations where they're away from everybody they don't deal with except for the United States government, or they deal with just the state. That's it. So it's simpler. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Yep.
So I think that's what it is. They're not ready, or they don't have the know-hows to deal in that arena, or they don't want to fight in the arena if they don't know how to. Because
That's
a lot
it.
of people,
Yes. So it's
I realize a lot of people didn't start in their 20s like me and learn they are native. A lot of people started when they were older. So that generation don't want to fight no more. That generation just wants to have it easy, you know. But there is a program called Land Back that a lot of native people are doing. And I think that's one way to start is doing land back. May not
mhm.
bring the whole tribe, but certain families could go back a certain periods of time throughout the year, and then eventually their family could start building a small little business here, and they get known for something well. And then if they're known for something well, the community feels okay. Like for example, the Eastern Band Cherokee, they're known for gambling. So when Tennessee found out, it was like, yeah, we want y'all to come on over here, come back home. And it was funny, the state of Tennessee was asking the government to allow the Eastern Band Cherokee to come back and open up business because they know it would help them, allowing them to come back. So sometimes you have to move strategically
Mhm.
and get more allies than enemies on your side. So maybe there's not enough allies
Mhm.
to in the Southeast for them to move back, which makes sense. All right, so I just got one
Right.
thing to pull out the Black Bear medicine bag, medicine pouch today is pine needle, one of my favorite and one of
It makes sense. Mhm. Mhm. It does.
teas that I learned. The first time I heard about this, I'll give you a real quick story, was when I was living among the
Okay.
Anishinaabe people, which also means the people, or in French, they're called Ojibwe or Jibwa. I heard that one before. In English, they're called Chippewa people, and they range from New Brunswick all the way over to Montana, in between Michigan, Indiana, or Ohio, Illinois, Wisconsin. Third largest tribe. The first largest
Mhm.
tribe is the Dene or Navajo, and second one is Aniha. We the
Mhm.
principal people of Cherokee currently, according to the census. So I was listening to a story where they was like, oh, when I was among the
Okay.
Canadian Anishinaabe, they showed me that pine needle tea cures colds and it helps. And I started doing some more research. It's an antiviral, an antimicrobial, it's an antifungal. There are so many different properties and antioxidant that pine needle tea helps with, and pine needle itself. We could go on and on. And also among blacks and indigenous people and black indigenous people, heart health is so important because my uncle just passed away on my mother's side, my matrilineal side. And I realized that we need to start taking things before we turn 50 and we get into it. We need to do that. And that's another thing that pine needle tea helps with. So I digress and go ahead and this is my cousin Ashanti. I'm gonna go ahead and present her, and you tell the audience what you're about.
Okay. Well, I want to say one thing about your medicinal tea of the day. I keep pine needle tea on deck. You hear me? I have some, and you are absolutely right about this. I rarely ever get colds. I rarely ever get sick. Um, Pine needle and thyme teas are your go-tos. Okay, so I know you're not focusing on thyme today, but pine needle, always keep that. He's right about everything he said. I think everybody, especially during cold and flu season, should keep pine needle on deck. And I'll actually show it to your viewers too, to what it looks like. And you told me you're growing this right in your backyard. Is that right?
No, no, no. One thing about Blackbird Medicine Bag, I could go find it, and on that's one thing that
Oh,
as indigenous people we need to start going back to is going out, and some native nations have a certain group of people who actually go out and gather it. That's one thing that I'm trying to stress to my
mhm.
viewers and everybody around. Go out the old way, as they call it, and gather it
Okay.
yourself. So then if they the store shut down tomorrow, you know what to do, how to move around as that. And I could show you, cousin, like when
Okay.
you get some time, exactly where to find those, because they're all around you.
Hmm. Right.
And also, one last thing, I'm gonna see antivirals are good because if you go to the ER, you
I
have anything antiviral, they
actually
will
get
give you
mine
that.
from the Good Earth.
That's where you get it from. Is that an online store? Is that a store locally that you go to? Oh, your sound went out.
So I actually get mine from the Good Earth store, which is in Broad Ripple, as you know. But I did speak to you about my medicine hunter lady, and she's really, um, she's really like smart about all that and where to get it. And then remember I talked to you about Rasayana, who actually, and maybe one time you could have them on the show. He actually grows his in his own on his own land. But this pine needle tea is I don't know if they could see it here. It is very. I mean, it just looks just like it does. Um, but that's what it looks like if they could see it. So yeah,
Okay.
always keep some of that on deck. Now, about me. So why my cousin asked me on the show is, of course, so we can piggyback on information about the medicine and the medicine from the earth, God's medicine. And if you look in the Bible in Revelations chapter 22, verse 2, it will tell you that the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. So we know that anything that is from the earth is good for us because God created it. So I just want to put that little 2 cent in there. And about me, what I'm doing right now is I am writing. I have 3 books that I'm focusing on, and one of the books is about competing. We have this very bad in our community. As a Christian, and I am a Christian, we do not compete because we know that whatever God has for us is for us. So, one of my first books that I want to get published, I have not gotten it published yet, but I'm working towards that. So just pray. One thing we don't want to do ever in life is compete against another soul, because what God has for you is for you. Just like my cousin starting his podcast and doing this, I think this is so wonderful. He just let me know, and I'm like, oh yeah, your family and friends when they're doing something, but who is going to give the increase in whatever you do? It's going to be God. So there's no need to compete, and their own talents. We all have talents and skills and things like that. And my cousin is so knowledgeable in what he's doing, and I'm so proud of him. So that's one of my books is about competing. We're not going to do that. We're going to go get what God has for us. The second is called Stop the Insanity, and it's just talking about repeating the same behaviors and doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And we know that if you're going to do something, you've got to have a new mindset and a new way of doing it in order to be successful. So that would be the second. And the third one is just a personal book about my life. And it's my 50s, which I just turned 50 this year. So I reached a half a century. And so that's it. Cousin, where'd you go? Come back.
I'm right here. I was running around trying to get that.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, I guess he took a high little
Hello. Can you hear me?
break.
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me?
I'm not sure what else he wanted
Hello, can you hear
me to
me?
talk about, but I could talk about myself all night.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can y'all hear me? Okay. No, I was just gonna show everybody what the pine needle teeth looks like. That's what I was doing.
I can hear you. Uh-huh.
Okay, that's all I was gonna do. I was just show them
I
that.
can hear you.
And
Perfect. I
okay,
can hear
yeah.
you.
So one of the biggest things that
I
I
can
was
hear you. I can hear you. Yes.
one of the biggest things was how do we get in contact with
Yes.
you
Yes.
if we want to
Yes.
look at your books, or if we want to talk to
Yes.
you,
You're
or if we
good. I
want
can
to
hear
reach
you.
out to one of your
Yeah.
friends.
Oh, okay. Okay. Show my jar. My jar was so small.
Yeah, well, we could put the information inside of the chat at the end of the show, and then it'll be up there. And then if you guys want to contact her on
I'm sorry. I could
Facebook,
barely say it again. Repeat it, please. I'm sorry.
okay, how can people get in contact with you?
Hello.
Hello, how can people get in contact with you?
Hello.
Hello, can you
Oh,
hear
how to
me?
get in contact with me? How to get in contact with me?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm on Facebook under. Okay, I am on Facebook under a sister Ashanti, which is the exactly how it's spelled. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm under Facebook exactly how it's spelled on the screen here. Sis, S-I-S, Ashanti, spelled Ashaunti. Of course, once I do publish the books, I'll have links to them. So, because they're not published yet, unfortunately, I can't provide the link. But once they get published, I will provide the links on my both of my Facebook pages. Also, you can email me, and I can be reached by email at children, CILDREN, RARE, bless, BLESS, coaching women. So I've been doing that for the last 5 years, and my fees are very minimal. I only charge $25 an hour. So and I do speak about the Lord. So if you call me for coaching, it is spiritual like coaching. I'm not a psychologist or a therapist, but I just kind of coach you and walk you through how your spiritual life, your spiritual journey, and how to get closer to God. Also, when I do get the book links to my books up, like they will be on my Facebook page as well. So, and then if you want
Okay.
to email me to get those, hopefully it'll be here coming up soon. And if you want to email me on information of like where to go to find some of the good teas that we're using from the earth, you can also do that. So,
Okay, everybody, I got the Black Bear
because
Medicine book.
everything is not in one spot. Sometimes you don't have like the Good Earth store that's in Browardville doesn't always have everything because so many people use it. So there's websites that you have to go on, or you have to find people like my cousin was saying, you have to find people who actually grow it and then go ahead.
I was just gonna say that just trying to find the information. I'm gonna post all the information on the Black Bear
Now I
Medicine
cannot
Bag
hear you.
page.
You
Oh, okay. Hello? Can y'all hear me now?
no sound, cousin. Can I hear you? Can't hear you. No sound. Can I?
What about now? Can you hear me? Okay. What I was gonna say is that all the information I'm gonna put up on the Black Bear Medicine Bag Show page. I actually got a Facebook page that I'm gonna link
Yes.
this together. I'm gonna send you the Black Bear Medicine Bag page too, so you can put your information on there. Also, you can put your email so we can link everything together tonight. And I also sometimes I'll put in the community if you would like. Also,
Okay.
I could put your information in the community part of this Black Bear Medicine Bag podcast. So either way, people will be able to get in contact with you for your books or get in contact for more information. And yes, I would love to have more people, because the biggest thing about the Black Bear Medicine Bag is building community, teaching about medicine, learning about medicine, and networking. A lot of the reason that most Native nations went under was because they didn't trust each other. So if I could start within my area, my family, and move outward, that's really how it all begins, is being native, indigenous of the earth. Is about your family, your community, and then moving forward further out. So that's what I'm trying to do too. Let's bring it in. Well, is there anything else you would like to mention before I let the people go? Any events or anything that you are doing or anything you would like to say? I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
And my cousin, yeah,
Okay, you're
so
gonna
I
have to.
would like the people to know that my cousin and I both come from strong. I was just
Oh,
gonna say that my cousin and I both come from strong lineages. Can you hear me now?
yeah, I can hear
Can
you.
you hear me now?
I can hear
Can
you.
you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead. Say it.
You can hear me now? The ad was just to let everyone know. The only thing that I was going to add, just to let your viewers know, is that both you and I come from a strong lineage of indigenous people on both sides of our, well, for me, on both sides of the family. And so it's interesting how we were just talking about this yesterday, how they make you prove so much. They make you prove through all these different papers and documents and things like that, your lineage. And you have to be, like my cousin was saying, I was thinking that he was able to get perks for college because of his Cherokee connections. But he said they have to prove through so many different documents. And that's something that we need to fight as well. We need to fight because most people of African descent who have come over here through ships were intermingled with the indigenous people that were already here. And we have a strong native or indigenous lineage. And so it's sad that we have to prove that we're connected to these different tribes in order to be able to receive the same thing, that even though it's not a lot, but just even monies for college, it helps, you know. So I was just I was just thinking it's really sad that we have to do.
Well, in a way, it hurts the tribe and it protects the
Can
tribe.
you hear me?
I see. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you fine. Yeah, in a way, it protects tribes for people who are faking, who are culture vultures, right? Hopefully, I can pull it back in. But it hurts the tribe if people who are of that lineage, but none of their ancestors ever enrolled in the tribe. Like on my mother's side, they're Mexican indigenous, right? And because they're Mexican indigenous, DNA, why I proved it. But as far as documentation, there's nobody in the current family that ever enrolled. And so because of that, I lose the aspect of me, right? But yeah. But I just want to thank everybody who took the time out today to watch the Black Bear Medicine Bag Show. All this information will be posted up, and you guys can read about the Cherokee Nation Car Tag Compact. Thank you so much. Until again, Donadal Goki. Oh, my cousin was coming back in. Let me pull her back in real quick.
Okay, I have no idea what happened. It just blocked me out, so I have no idea what happened. I apologize for that.
Sometimes it'll just kick you out, and you just got to come back in. It has glitches in the system. It's not the best system, but it's better than. I feel like it's better than Zoom. Because Zoom, you have to have all these different numbers. I hate typing in all those numbers. It's too much.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, but all I was saying was that with tribal enrollment, blood quantum can help or hurt you. Hurt you if you only have 800 members, full blood or whatever, currently to this day. And if you go very outside of the tribe, you're no longer, I don't know, Comanche or Apache or Cherokee, right? But Cherokee, a long time ago, they figured this out, right? They was like, we have to come up with a way of still including us. A long time ago, and even to this day, like with the Southwest tribes, your mother's mother makes you real Apache or real Navajo, right? Real Inde or Dene people. Even though you can have but as far as being accepted in the culture and things like that. So that is in itself a way of excluding. And then it's about government dollars too. Let's keep it real, because the government only allocates so much to the Native nations for healthcare, for education. And then you see the Cherokee Nation, we got to figure out a way outside of the money. And they don't like the way that the governor of Oklahoma don't like that. He figured out how to get out that. And just to keep it real, the Cherokee Nation is probably the richest Native nation on the planet because they know how to move around. They're called Anihahuia, which means principal people. They live by their principles to get them around, how to move around. Some other Native nations are still trying to be in between Christian and modern, and they still haven't figured it out. I would say that since the 1869 or whatever to about 1969 when Biden came into power, and you could go back and watch that about the boarding school. The boarding school did a number on most Native nations, where the same thing in the hood and in the Mexican barrio of taking away our culture and identity to make us colonize natives, colonize any individuals of America to be under one banner, one flag of the United States, has taken away who we really are. That has played on most Native nations. Not to say they don't got drugs and alcohol, but some Native nations have it worse, and they're trying to figure out how to build their infrastructure. Some Native nations made it good where they got oil, but the backdrops is cancer, lymphoma, all these different other things. They're still trying to figure out how can we be balanced, keep our land, but yet live in the 21st century. Where do we go? And some Native nations are still, and with the Cherokee nations, other Native nations like the Yaqui, just now we're able to put phone lines on their territory. So it's still a lot of Native nations are still living without power, without telephones. You know what I'm saying? They live in the old way, not on purpose, but because the government still hasn't allocated those things to certain people. So it's just all where you live. Other Native nations are dealing with not enough money for housing. So all of that is controlled by documentation. Who gets what, basically. And it goes all the way back to who had the privilege and who doesn't have the privilege when the first colonial person came over here. Basically. That's what it boils down to in a nutshell. Right. But I got to run and do something, so let's get off here. I'm gonna tell people Donadal Goki, Until we meet again, take care, cousin. Thank you for helping me with tonight's show. All right, take care, y'all.